क्या हाल साथ भाई? ऑल गुड?
गुड। आप पहुंच गए वापस?
यस यस, आई एम बैक एट इंडिया। चलिए शुरू करते हैं पेंडिंग रेव रेक टॉपिक्स, थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेशंस वंस, एंड फिर आपका वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट देखते हैं। 3 एग्जांपल्स इनडायरेक्टली कवर्ड है, लेकिन कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में एक दो और मेथड्स अलाउड है, तो वो हमें डिस्कस करनी पड़ेगी। सो लेट्स गो थ्रू व्हाट एवर इज द पेंडिंग पोर्शन और चैप्टर को फटाफट से रैप अप करते हैं। So we are in Rev Rec, and we have done till step 5, recognition of revenue. अब थोड़े कॉम्प्लिकेशंस पे चलते हैं। कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मॉडिफिकेशंस अगर होता है तो हाउ डू वी अकाउंट इट। चलते हैं हमारी एक्सेल शीट पे, and let's try to build an example, and then the things will be easy. So let's put header complex rev rec scenario. Let's take an example. So suppose a CPA firm has entered into a one contract, let's say with a Pepsi company is the customer, and your contract terms are like this. Your start date of the service is 1st January 2026. Your end date of the service are 31st December 2026. Amount you guys have agreed, it's 120,000 US dollar, and the services are monthly accounting services. That means our monthly revenue recognition comes to $10,000. Now, let's say for the first 3 months, the contract was going well. So the contract was going well, and you have recognized a revenue of $30,000. How came? So it's 10K for 3 months, total $30,000. Now there is a contract modification comes, and let's assess two scenarios. So scenario number one, a contract modification comes up where Pepsi company says that they have acquired a new branch. Let's say Pepsi was there in all the regions except Asia Pacific region, and now Pepsi is expanding to Asia Pacific region as well. And when you sign an initial contract, you expected a volume of roughly 10,000 transactions per month. Now, because Asia Pacific region is coming up, you expect a 20% increase in the volume of the work. So that is a scope increased by 20%. Now, Pepsi says our revised price are going to be monthly $11,000. That means your increased work is 20%, your increased price is 10%. Now the question is the new work, or let's use technical word, is a change in scope. Now this could be increase and this could be decrease. Either of the things are possible. Is at SSP or at a fair value? If answer is yes or if answer is no. So let's say if we say that there is an increase in 20% of the work and there is an increase in 10% of the price, is this at a SSP? So in the market, if somebody comes to SAD, so SAD charges 1,20,000 for a 10K volume per month, and if the volume increases, another 10% are added. If this is true, then this is treated as a new contract. What is the meaning of new contract? So SAD continues to recognize revenue under old contract at a run rate of 10,000 per month. Under a new contract, your increased price are $1,000 per month. That is 12,000 annually divided by 12 divided by remaining 9 months. So SAD recognizes $1,300 revenue for next 9 months, which is the increase in the monthly price. So this means you
Why?
treat old contract separately, you treat new contract also separately. Oh, sorry, I think my bad. This is going to be 9,000. You are increasing 1000 per month. So you continue to recognize old revenue under old contract, new revenue under a new contract. You don't mix them at all. So you have a Pepsi customer, you have a project A, which has a 1,20,000 annual value, 12 months of the term. Project B, total contract value of $9,000. Life is 9 months. Revenue are separate for both of them. Is this clear? First aspect, why it is treated a new contract?
1,000 is being paid each month for 9 months.
Yes. So now, since April to December, the revised monthly price are $11,000. Earlier, it were $10,000, 120 by 10. So from customer point of view, you are still going to issue a single invoice to him. This is a revenue recognition for your internal reporting point of view. How your CPA firm recognizes the revenue under AS 606. So now the contract value, which was earlier $10,000, is now $11,000. Why $1,000 has increased? Because in April, 1st of April, there is a contract modification came where you have increased the scope of work and the pricing has also changed.
Okay.
Clear है first point?
Yes.
चलिए आते हैं slide पे. So what we are seeing, a modification means an approved change either in the price and or scope of contract. Now, modification, if there are new goods or a removal of the goods, either of the things possible, is done at SSP. If yes, it is treated as a new contract. So, first box we have completed, which is a left hand side box. However, the complication comes when it's a part of the old contract. So, suppose if the change is not done at a fair value, then it is treated a part of your existing contract and you have to take a cumulative catch up impact on revenue, and this is a slightly complication one. So what we are saying, let's draw here a table. So let's say you have a Jan, Feb and so on. You have, let's draw 12 months of schedule. What is the revenue you are recognizing under old contract? So let's say in January you recorded 10,000, Feb 10,000, March 10,000. Now you have old plus new. So what accounting standard says that if the change request, modification or amendment is not treated as a new contract, then treat as if it was an old contract from the day one. So now what we are saying that your total estimated value under an old contract annually was 1,20,000. Under a amendment, you are now going to charge $1,000 extra for 9 months, which comes to $9,000. So your total value under a single contract would have been $1,29,000. Your term would have been maximum term, which is 12 months. Again, what we are seeing कि जो amendment signed हुआ 1st April को, that is not effective 1st April anymore. That is effective 1st of January. Why? It is a part of the existing contract and hence you have to assume as if the contract is effective from the original start date only. So your monthly revenue now becomes 1,29,000 divided by 12, which is 10,750. You should have recorded a revenue of 10,750 per month. Now, interesting part. You have already closed the books of accounts for your CPF until the month of March. बिकॉज मार्च 31 मार्च तक आपको तो पता नहीं था कि कोई अमेंडमेंट आएगा, कोई साइन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आएगा. सो इन अ गुड फेथ आप तो 10,000 का रेवेन्यू लेते जा रहे थे. सो टिल 31st of March you have recognized a $30,000 of revenue under an old contract. 1st April को आपको पता चला कि आपको तो लेना चाहिए था 10,750 का रेवेन्यू, not the revenue of only $10,000. So there is a revenue should have been booked is 10,750 into 3 months, which means 32,250. So on 1st of April, you recognize a one-time catch-up revenue of $2,250. So how actual your revenue looks like? Now, actually in the books, you say you recognize $10,000 for first 3 months. Then you recognize a one-time catch-up and then new revenue. In the month of April, you recognize a one-time catch-up. And then again, you continue to recognize $10,750 revenue for your remainder of the life. This is only a tricky part. If they ask you in the exam that it's a part of existing contract, calculate what is the one-time catch-up revenue entity has to record. Now, this can be increased, this can be decreased depending on the scope or the complication given in the question. Calculation में कोई भी doubt?
No. In your slide, you say are new goods distinct. What does that mean?
New goods distinct means, for example, it's a separate performance obligation. For example, monthly accounting services is a separate performance obligation. But let's say Pepsi company comes to you and say कि मुझे monthly printouts भी चाहिए. Now there is a change in the scope of work, but request of the printout is not a performance obligation, so it is not a distinct goods or a services. Distinct means it should be a separate performance obligation. तभी जाके ये point trigger होगा. If it's an administrative request in the nature, which is not a separate performance obligation, तो ये पूरा point ही trigger नहीं होगा.
Uh, uh, but like accounting services, we were already giving them. So is it
Yes. So accounting services is already a performance obligation, right? So they are going to pay you more because you are now giving a more performance obligations to them. So already आप दे रहे थे पहले 10,000 transactions की performance obligation. अब आप देने वाले हो उनको 12,000 transactions की performance obligation. So there is a distinct goods or a service. There is a deliverable to a customer. There is a value addition to a customer.
And for contract modification, so it has to be distinct and the price has to change.
Price may change or may not change. For example, आपने बोला कि ठीक है Asia Pacific region you have added Pepsi. This year we will not charge you anything. Then by default you will fall here. Why? Because there is a change in a scope, but not done at a SSP. So by default you will fall under the no category. So it depends on the contractual condition. For example, हमारी बात करते हैं. Let's say we have done, let's say, a FAR syllabus. And you have requested कि मैं आपको 1 month का एक revision कराऊं. And I said in a good faith, ठीक है मैं कराऊंगा. I will not charge you anything. So it's a change in a scope without any change in the price. That is possible. So आपको assess
Okay.
करना था कि if change in a scope is at a fair value or SSP, so it's a new contract. If it is no, then it's a part of the existing contract और आपको इसकी cumulative catch-up impact निकालनी पड़ेगी.
But if let's say price doesn't change, then we won't have to record any new entry.
Price hasn't changed, then you don't have to record the entry. However, for example, अगर आप output based की accounting कर रहे हो, then your catch-up impact is going to reduce. For example, हम ऐसा बोल रहे हैं कि आपका scope है, हम ये जो revenue है वो straight line नहीं ले रहे हैं, हम ये revenue ले रहे हैं based on the number of transaction processed. तो हमारा बेस है यहाँ पर 10,000 ट्रांजेक्शन. सो लेट्स से एनुअल बेस जो है आपका, यू आर गोइंग टू प्रोसेस 1,20,000 ट्रांजेक्शन. आपका जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वैल्यू है वो है 1,20,000 ट्रांजेक्शन. सो रेवेन्यू पर ट्रांजेक्शन जो आप रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हो दैट इज $1. सो नाउ जनवरी फरवरी मार्च यू हैव अ सेम रेवेन्यू. लेकिन अप्रैल मंथ में नाउ यू आर गोइंग टू प्रोसेस नॉट ओनली 1,20,000 ट्रांजेक्शन बट योर स्कोप इज इंक्रीज्ड बाय 120%. So now your contract value remains at 120, लेकिन आप जो transaction process कर रहे हो they are 1,44,000. So now your जो revenue per transaction is changed to 0.83. तो अगर आपका straight line method है, maybe there is no change in the revenue. But अगर आप revenue ले रहे हो based on the number of transaction processed on the output method, तो again आपको catch up impact लेना पड़ सकता है.
Okay.
ठीक है, छोटा सा टॉपिक, लिटिल बिट कॉम्प्लिकेटेड. अगेन हम क्या बोल रहे हैं कि if there is a modification for a new distinct goods or a service at SSP, it's a new contract. If SSP is not followed, then it's a modification of existing contract, and we have to adjust the revenue as if this was a part of the original contract only. कोई भी डाउट या पर्टिकुलर चार्ट में? A small concept लेकिन आ सकता है एमसीक्यू में कैलकुलेशंस.
No.
चलिए आगे चलते हैं. प्रेजेंटेशन वी हैव ऑलरेडी कवर्ड. क्रॉस वर्सेस नेट रिपोर्टिंग पे चलते हैं. एंड आई थिंक दिस इज ऑलरेडी वी हैव कवर्ड इन आवर बेस सेशन. एक बार वापस हम देख लेते हैं. लेट मी सी कहां पर है इसकी. कैश अप्रूवल रेशियो 606, ईपीएस, जे क्रिएशन, डिविडेंड्स. आई डोंट नो कहां पर गया है वो स्लाइड. चलिए, नो डाउट, लेट्स बिल्ड इट अगेन. सो ग्रॉस वर्सेस नेट रिपोर्टिंग. So gross versus net reporting सबसे पहले ट्रिगर होता है when there is a three parties are involved in the transaction. So it means there is a one ultimate seller. So there is a one party is a ultimate seller. There is a one intermediary who is selling the goods or a services, and then there is an actual customer. So if there is a three party here, it is important to understand which party reports a revenue and which party reports a commission. Let's build an example जो हमने last time किया था. Suppose there are three party. Let's say there is a one Make My Trip, and let's say there is a one Emirates Airlines. And let's build an example that I have booked a flight, let's say Mumbai to Abu Dhabi, and I have paid 25,000 to Make My Trip. Let's build this further. Make My Trip retains 30% of commission and repays 70% to Emirates Airlines. Now, our question is how Make My Trip should recognize the revenue and how Emirates recognize the revenue. There are three key pointers. If answer to all of the three is yes, then you are a principal, you recognize a gross revenue. If answer is no, you recognize a net revenue. Understand करते हैं what is gross and what is net, but सबसे पहले what are the pointers? Who are the primary obligator to deliver the goods or services? Second, who has a latitude in establishing the prices? And number three, who bears the inventory risk? Now, again, these are your indicators. These are not the factual parameters. These are the indicators which indicates who can be a principal, who can be an agent. So let's see in our example. When I book a ticket from Make My Trip, I don't expect Make My Trip to run the flight. So I know that who is primarily responsible to run the flight is Emirates. Number two, let's say Make My Trip has sold this ticket to me at 25,000. Maybe Go IBBO is selling at 23,000. Maybe let's say Scapia is selling this at 28,000. So there is a variety of the range, but ultimately Emirates says in the market that you have to sell this price at least at 22,000 rupees. You cannot go below this, and maximum you can sell this ticket is at 45,000. So your pricing range has to be between 22,000 to 45,000. Now it is up to you guys whether you want to give some discount, you have to charge a premium, how you want to sell. So the latitude to establish the price is with Emirates. They have given a price range, and now the players in the market, somebody can sell at 30K, somebody can sell at 22K, somebody can sell at 25K. Who bears the inventory risk? Now, generally in the airline industry, what happens? If any unsold tickets, they are carry forward to the next carrier. So generally all the unsold seats are bared by the Emirates. Ultimately, Make My Trip or Go Ibibo is not going to take a risk that we are going to purchase all your seats first and we are reselling your seats. No, that is not going to happen. It may be possible that Make My Trip has initially taken a 25 seats and Make My Trip is able to sell only 20. 5 seats which are unsold, they will be carry forward or added to a next carrier. So the inventory risk also remains with the Emirates. So in the entire transaction, we can say that a Make My Trip is working as an agent and Emirates is working as a principal. The person who works as an agent, they have to report a net revenue. So what is the net revenue? It's a revenue less expense. And the person who is a principal has to book a gross revenue. What is the meaning of gross revenue? Revenue is recorded full, expenses are shown on a debit side and not reduction of the revenue. Let's build our example further. So what has happened? I have paid 25,000 outflow to Make My Trip. So how much money is received by Make My Trip initially? 25,000. What is their retention? They have retained 30% of the commission. And what is they have paid to Emirates? So they have paid 17,500. What Emirates has received? 17,500. So now what is the entry in both the company's books of accounts? So Make My Trip first of all receives the cash. So their entry is cash account debited 25,000 to revenue 25,000. This is when ticket is sold. Now when they pay the amount back to the Emirates, this is recorded as a reduction of the revenue. So not expense. This is the reduction of the revenue and this is only a change. So the entry is revenue account debited to cash 17,500. So revenue account debited to cash 17,500. So what net revenue they have booked? So they have booked 25,000 revenue minus 17,500. So net revenue booked by Make My Trip is 7,500, which is called a agent net reporting. Now let's highlight this because this is only a critical parameter. They have debited revenue for the commission or a transfer they have made. Now what Emirates is doing? Emirates is receiving a cash of 17,500. So their entry is 17,500 cash account debited to revenue 17,500. But we say Emirates has to record a gross revenue. It means they have to record a full revenue. Whatever commission they have paid to Make My Trip, they has to be shown on the expense side. So what is the commission they have paid to Make My Trip? 7,500. So now their new entry is commission expense account debited to revenue account 7,500. So now what Make My Trip is do, oh, sorry, what Emirates Airlines are doing, they are recognizing a gross revenue of full 25,000 and they are also recording a commission expense on the P&L of the debit side, which is 7,500. So this is how a principal versus agent relationship works. Agent only records the net income. Principal first of all records the gross income and they book the commission which is paid to the intermediary as a expenses. A small concept gross versus net reporting. कोई भी क्वेश्चन एंट्रीज या एग्जांपल में
No.
ऑल गुड
Yes.
थोड़ा जोर से आई एम नॉट एबल टू हियर
Yes.
चलिए ठीक है एक बार स्लाइड देख लेते हैं ग्रॉस वर्सेस नेट रिपोर्टिंग सो ग्रॉस मींस अ प्रिंसिपल नेट मींस द एजेंट so when you recognize the gross revenue when entity controls the goods or a service before it's transferred entity has the inventory risk and entity has a latitude in setting up the prices. If these conditions are met, entity reports a full price as a revenue. Agent kya karega? They are just going to recognize a net fee as the income. So they are the arrangement providers for the original party to the ultimate customer. They do not control the goods or services. They earn the fee based on the commission, and they only report a net income, which is left amount left with them. Clear है? Gross versus
Yes.
net reporting. चलिए, combination of contract we have already seen. So again basically what it says कि मान लो साद ने दो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन किए पेप्सी कंपनी के साथ. 1 जनवरी को उसने साइन किया अकाउंटिंग सर्विसेज, सेकंड को उसने साइन किया ऑडिटिंग सर्विसेज. So if a contract are signed at or about same time, और अगर ऐसी कंडीशंस फुलफिल हो रही है कि बोथ द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स आर इंटरडिपेंडेंट ऑन ईच अदर और प्राइसेस आर इंटरडिपेंडेंट ऑन ईच अदर और दे आर नेगोशिएटेड एज अ सिंगल कमर्शियल पैकेज, तो आपको दोनों को कंबाइन करना पड़ेगा फॉर अकाउंटिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू एंड ट्रीट देम एज अ सिंगल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. अगेन टॉपिक इज ऑलरेडी कवर्ड ड्यूरिंग द ओरिजिनल स्लाइड्स. लास्ट टॉपिक पे चलते हैं. एक्सेप्ट अ बार्टर अकाउंटिंग रह जाएगा, which is a licensing revenue. Now licensing revenue क्या बोलता है कि you can have a two type of licenses in the market. One is a static IP, one is a functional IP. Now right to use जो है इसको बोलते हैं static IP, right to access को बोलते हैं functional IP और a dynamic IP. मैं टेक्निकलिटीज में पहले नहीं जा रहा हूँ, आई एम गिविंग यू द एग्जांपल्स ओनली एंड हम पहले लॉजिक समझने का ट्राई करते हैं. Suppose let's assume you are Amazon Prime and let's say there is a movie which is getting released. Let's say Dhurandhar, it's getting released and Dhurandhar has given the movie to Amazon Prime to be run for a period of 2 years. And the fees which are agreed, let's assume Dhurandhar is paying Amazon Prime a fee of $25,000. Sorry, my bad. Amazon Prime is giving a fee to Dhurandhar $25,000. Now let's think from the Dhurandhar movie's point of view. एक बार मूवी अपलोड हो गई, नाउ डज इट मैटर टू धुरंधर कि एक लोग देख रहे हैं, 100 लोग देख रहे हैं कि 1 करोड़ लोग देख रहे हैं, दिन में एक बार देख रहे हैं, साल में एक बार देख रहे हैं? इज इट रिलेवेंट? उनको तो क्या करना था कि अपनी मूवी जो थी उसका आईपी राइट्स वो देना था अमेजोन प्राइम को 2 साल के लिए. अब अमेजोन प्राइम पे कोई एक बार देखे, 100 बार देखे, 1000 बार देखे, ना भी देखे, धुरंधर को उससे कोई मतलब है? कोई मतलब नहीं है. उसको तो पैसा मिल गया अपना आईपी देने का. सो इट इज कॉल्ड अ डायनेमिक आईपी और अ फंक्शनल आईपी. आपने एक बार अपनी चीज दे दी, नाउ इट इज अप टू द यूजर टू डिसाइड कि उसको उससे कैसे यूज करना है. धुरंधर इज नॉट गोइंग टू मेक एनी चेंजेस. और लेट्स से फॉर दिस एग्जांपल गाना.com और any other Apple Music. For example, there is a movie. Now Apple has paid that movie a $10,000 और उसके जो भी सॉन्ग्स है वो एप्पल म्यूजिक पे बचेंगे. अब आप एक बार सुनो, 10 बार सुनो, 1000 बार सुनो, ना सुनो, दैट सॉन्ग, दैट एल्बम क्रिएटर हैज नो रिलेवेंस. उसको तो एक बार पैसा मिल गया, उसने अपना राइट दे दिया. सो
सॉन्ग
इफ
पे पर क्लिक नहीं होता?
सॉरी,
सॉन्ग पे पर लिसनिंग नहीं होता?
सॉन्ग पे लिसनिंग नहीं होता मतलब?
As in के it's based on how many times the song is heard, then the Apple or Spotify pay the creator.
इट डिपेंड्स आपकी प्राइसिंग. जनरली ऐसा नहीं होता है बिकॉज नोबडी इज गोइंग टू मॉनिटर. आप उसको 2 साल के लिए, फॉर एग्जांपल देयर आर 1 मिलियन यूजर, तो कौन इतनी रिपोर्टिंग ट्रैक करेगा कि 1 मिलियन यूजर ने कितनी बार सुना, कितने सेकंड्स के लिए सुना. सो व्हेन देयर इज अ डायनेमिक आईपी और अ फंक्शनल आईपी, आप एक बार दे दोगे अपनी चीज एंड देन यू विल लेफ्ट आउट. फॉर एग्जांपल मेरा ये कंटेंट है, आई हैव गिवन टू यू वन टाइम, फिर आप दिन में एक बार पढ़ो, 100 बार पढ़ो या ना पढ़ो ये स्लाइड्स, इट डजंट मैटर टू मी, आई गेट द मनी. सो डायनेमिक आईपी क्या होता है कि कस्टमर इज गोइंग टू बेनिफिट फ्रॉम द एंटिटीज आईपी. हाँ, it may be possible that I am doing a periodic maintenance to make sure that slides are uploaded on the Google Drive, or Dhurandhar is making a periodic maintenance where they are making sure that all the data, all the content is available. So routine ongoing maintenance are okay, but entity is not responsible to do any other activity except just giving away its IP. If that is the case, if it's a functional IP, there is a problem in writing. This is not a static IP. This is a dynamic IP, and this is the static IP. So if IP has a standalone functionality, let's say Dhurandhar movie, you have granted the license, entity's activity is not going to affect at all. एक बार movie release हो गया, songs release हो गया, PPT की slide release हो गई, there is nothing going to change anymore now, and it is called a revenue in one point in time. मैंने $2 million दे दिए to show धुरंधर on Amazon Prime for 2 years, one time revenue. मैंने आपको सारी स्लाइड्स दे दी, लेट्स से $10,000 में, फिर आप आज पढ़ो ना पढ़ो कभी भी ना पढ़ो, $10,000 is my one time revenue. So it is called a revenue recognized in one point where a control is transferred immediately to the customer. However, if there is a static IP where right to access is given, and these are the examples where you give a logo to use to a customer, a brand name, a patent name to use to a customer, and your image, your day-to-day activity can affect the contract. For example, Indian cricket team, let's say it was sponsored by Dream 11. So Dream 11 has given their logo to BCCI to sponsor Indian cricket team, and let's say BCCI is paying $1 lakh per month to Dream 11. So if you are giving a static IP, which means the IP doesn't have its own functionality, but you just give some brand image, logo, patent for entity to use, you recognize revenue over a period of time, and your activity can affect the contract. So Dream 11 बीच में ban हो गया था. Once its reputation went down, the contract got terminated, and then Byju's came up and they replaced the Dream 11. So your all the activities are going to affect the IP. So entity's image is very important to keep the reputation of the IP. So all the examples like sports team's logo, let's say celebrity gives his name to use, or let's say Rolls Royce Discovery logo on the Rolls Royce car. So all these things where entity is giving their logo, their name, their patent to be used to somebody else, it is called a static IP, where the image is very important and every day entity has to keep the image up and hold. So अगर वो scenario है, the revenue will be recognized ratably over a period of time. So अगर आपने 1 साल का contract किया है, revenue will be recognized over a 12 months. अगर आपने 6 महीने का contract किया है, revenue will be recognized over a 6 months. All clear with licensing revenue? Again question आ सकता है कि अगर आपने movie दे दी है, so it's a dynamic IP one time revenue, but logo दिया है, it's a static IP, it's a revenue over a period of time.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes.
चलिए आते हैं हमारे लास्ट टॉपिक पे, विच इज नॉन कैश कंसिडरेशन एंड बार्टर कंसिडरेशन. सबसे पहले नॉन कैश पे आते हैं. सो लेट्स स्टिक टू द सेम एग्जांपल. साथ यू आर गिविंग द सीपीए अकाउंटिंग सर्विसेज टू पेप्सी कंपनी, और पेप्सी कंपनी ने आपको कैश नहीं दिया है. पेप्सी कंपनी हैज गिवन यू लेट्स से सम एसेट इन एक्सचेंज. So it is called a non-cash consideration. So when an entity is selling a goods or a services and you are receiving something other than the cash, then it is called a non-cash consideration. Recognize कैसे करना है? At a fair market value of the item which you are receiving. So let's say on the slide you have a 3 example. आपने अकाउंटिंग सर्विसेज दिया, पेप्सी कंपनी ने आपको कोई इक्विपमेंट दिया, लेट्स से दे हैव गिवन यू डेटा सेंटर्स एंड लार्ज कंप्यूटर्स, और इसकी मार्केट वैल्यू थी $50,000. सो यू आर गोइंग टू ट्रीट योर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वैल्यू एज अ $50,000. आप रेवेन्यू कैसे रिकॉग्नाइज करोगे? $50,000 डिवाइडेड बाय 12 मंथ्स, हर मंथ $4,000 का आप रेवेन्यू रिकॉग्नाइज करोगे. लेट्स से आपने अकाउंटिंग सर्विसेज दिया पेप्सी कंपनी को, और पेप्सी कंपनी ने अपनी कंपनी की इक्विटी शेयर्स आपको दे दिए. एंड जब इक्विटी शेयर्स आपको दिए, लेट्स से पेप्सी कंपनी ने आपको 500 इक्विटी शेयर्स दिए, और फेयर वैल्यू ईच शेयर का था $40. दैट मीन्स आपकी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वैल्यू हो गई $20,000. तो आप रेवेन्यू कितना रिकॉग्नाइज करोगे? $20,000 डिवाइडेड बाय 12, roughly around $1,600 per month. बट लेट्स से पेप्सी कंपनी ने कुछ ऐसी चीज आपको दे दी जिसका फेयर वैल्यू डिटरमाइन ही नहीं हो सकता है, देन यू हैव टू यूज योर अजम्पशंस एंड योर जजमेंट कि आप मार्केट में अगर यही अकाउंटिंग सर्विसेज देते तो वो कितने में देते। एंड दिस बिकम्स अ वेरी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड एरिया ऑफ अकाउंटिंग जहां पर आपको एक्सपर्ट्स इन्वॉल्व करने पड़ेंगे। बट जनरली दिस विल नॉट फॉल, बिकॉज जब आप कोई चीज बेचते हो और एनी गुड्स और सर्विस, यू विल नो कि आप कितनी वैल्यू की आइटम बेच रहे हो। सो इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन कि आप कार बेच रहे हो एंड यू एक्सेप्ट द 5 पीस ऑफ एप्पल। नॉन कैश कंसिडरेशन विल ऑलवेज बी इक्वल टू इट्स कैश इक्विवेलेंट वैल्यू। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपने अगर 1 लाख की अकाउंटिंग सर्विस बेची है, तो आप जो प्रॉपर्टी या कोई इक्विपमेंट एक्सचेंज करोगे, मे बी उसका वैल्यू हो सकता है $90,000, $95,000, $105,000। ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आप 1 लाख की अकाउंटिंग सर्विस दे दो और उसके सामने आपको $1,000 के चॉकलेट मिले। दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल, यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू एंटर इनटू अ डील। Generally, the non-cash consideration is recorded at a fair value of the goods or services which are expected to be received. Clear है नॉन कैश कंसिडरेशन कॉन्सेप्ट?
Yes.
चलिए, इसी का एक और कॉम्प्लिकेटेड एरिया है विच इज अ बार्टर अकाउंटिंग, और बोथ वे देयर इज नथिंग, नो कैश आर एक्सचेंज्ड। ये टिपिकल आपको देखने को मिलता है मीडिया इंडस्ट्री में। लेट्स ड्रॉ एन एग्जांपल, इसके बाद आता है। सो लेट्स सी, लेट्स पुट हियर अ बार्टर अकाउंटिंग and let's just assume there is a World Cup going on, and let's say there are two television. Let's say one is a Star Sports, and let's assume second is a Sony TV. And let's say there is a match day, let's say World Cup final, India versus Australia. And let's say Sony TV, we are expecting our Prime Minister show, let's say Mr. Narendra Modi is going to come up on Sony TV. Let's say at Kapil Sharma show. Now, स्टार स्पोर्ट्स एंड सोनी टीवी बोथ नो कि जब इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया का मैच होगा, स्टार स्पोर्ट्स नो कि मैं एडवर्टाइजिंग स्पॉट 10x पे बेचूंगा। इवन सोनी टीवी नो कि जब मिस्टर मोदी साहब जब आएंगे कपिल शर्मा के शो पे, उस दिन के एडवर्टाइजिंग जो स्पॉट्स होंगे, वी विल सेल एट 10x। नाउ स्टार स्पोर्ट्स क्या चाहेगा? आई वांट टू डू अ क्रॉस एडवर्टाइजिंग, कि जितने भी व्यूअर्स है जो सोनी टीवी ज्यादा देखते हैं, मुझे उनको बताना है कि भाई संडे को वर्ल्ड कप फाइनल है, वॉच द स्टार स्पोर्ट्स। व्हाट सोनी टीवी वांट्स टू शो, कि जितने भी क्रिकेट व्यूअर्स है, मुझे उनको बताना है कि ट्यूसडे को मिस्टर मोदी इज कमिंग ऑन द शो, प्लीज शो। लेकिन दोनों कंपनी को पता है, स्टार स्पोर्ट्स को, कि अगर मैं सोनी के पास गया तो जो चीज मेरी $1 में हो रही थी उसके लिए मुझे $10 देने पड़ेंगे। सेम वे सोनी टीवी नोस की जो चीज स्टार स्पोर्ट्स में $1 में मिलनी थी, मुझे $10 देने पड़ेंगे, बिकॉज इट्स अ गेम डे, इट्स अ हाई वोल्टेज डे। सो बोथ द कंपनीज कम टुगेदर ऑन अ कॉफी टेबल, और वो लोग क्या डिसाइड करते हैं? लेट्स डू वन थिंग, लेट्स एक्सचेंज द 1,000 एड्स of each other show without a cash. That means Star Sports ने क्या agree किया? They will run, let's say, 1,000 ads during the match for Mr. Modi show, and Sony TV agrees that they are going to run 1,000 ad for the cricket final on Sony TV. Now contract तो आ गया, but cash exchange नहीं होने वाला है। तो question is how accounting should happen. So again, concept says that your value is equal to a fair market value of the services or a goods received. So Star Sports को क्या मिल रहा है? Star Sports is getting the advertising services from the Sony TV. Let's say fair market value वो advertising service का है $60,000. Sony TV को क्या मिल रहा है? Advertising services on the Star Sports. Let's say इसका market value है 50,000. So both the parties are now going to recognize the revenue and expenses. So Star Sports जो है, वो रेवेन्यू कितना रिकॉग्नाइज करेगा? 50,000, जितने उसने सर्विसेज दी है। सो द रेवेन्यू इज गोइंग टू बी $50,000। साथ के साथ वो एडवर्टाइजिंग एक्सपेंस कितना बुक करेगा? $60,000 का। सोनी टीवी कितना रेवेन्यू रिकॉग्नाइज करेगा? $60,000 का, जो उसने सर्विसेज दी है। बट वो एक्सपेंस कितना बुक करेगा? 50,000 का, जितनी उसने सर्विसेज मिल रही है। So even though there is no exchange of cash in the transaction,
It's
and
Sony's revenue is 60.
Sony is receiving the goods or oh yes, Sony's revenue is 60 because Star Sports को क्या मिल रहा है? गुड्स और सर्विसेज फ्रॉम सोनी, उसकी मार्केट वैल्यू 60,000 है। सो 60,000 की आइटम सोनी ने स्टार स्पोर्ट्स को सेल की है, तो सोनी का रेवेन्यू होगा 60,000 और स्टार का एक्सपेंस होगा 60,000। सो दिस टू हैज टू मैच। एंड सोनी टीवी को क्या मिल रहा है? गुड्स एंड सर्विस फ्रॉम स्टार स्पोर्ट्स। स्टार स्पोर्ट्स के लिए उसकी मार्केट वैल्यू क्या थी? 50,000। तो सोनी का एक्सपेंस हो गया 50,000 एंड स्टार स्पोर्ट्स का रेवेन्यू हो गया 50,000। एक का रेवेन्यू दूसरे का एक्सपेंस होता है। सो स्टार का रेवेन्यू सोनी का एक्सपेंस एंड सोनी का रेवेन्यू स्टार का एक्सपेंस। ठीक है,
And
दिस इज
what
हाउ यू recognize the barter revenue and barter expenses in the system.
and will we balance the 10,000 or it will just stay like
There
that?
is no need to balance 10,000 because there is no cash involved. So what is the entry? For example, अगर आप revenue में चलोगे, you are, let's say you are not going to get an invoice from the, you are not going to raise the invoice to the customer. So the entry is going to be unbilled revenue account debited 50,000 to revenue account 50,000. Expenses, again, you are not going to get the expense invoice from the customer. So your entry is expense account debited 60,000 to accounts payable 60,000. Now you have to knock off accounts payable and unbilled revenue with each other because there is no invoices are coming. So accounts payable account debited 60,000, unbilled revenue account debited 50,000, and there is a retained earnings which is going to be $10,000. So you're just going to close out your entry. Balance sheet is closed out. ठीक है, ऑल क्लियर विद द बार्टर अकाउंटिंग। बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड टॉपिक है, अगर ज्यादा उनको एग्जाम खराब करनी है तो ही ये टॉपिक आएगा, अदरवाइज नॉन कैश इज द हाईएस्ट लेवल ऑफ कॉम्प्लिकेशन। बार्टर कैन कम if they want to just make the exam very very serious.
We can record retain earnings 10,000 even though we're not receiving any
You
income.
have not received the money but there is an economic transaction. आते हैं फर्स्ट डेफिनेशन पे। Contract has a commercial substance, means this is not a dummy transaction. It's just a company has decided not to exchange the cash. Still, the net entity's profit, entity's expenses, entity's revenue, they are affected. So the contract is in the scope of the ASC 606. आप हर एक transactions को record करोगे। It's just cash inflow, cash outflow नहीं हो रहा है दोनों entity के लिए। Both entity are still liable to pay GST, VAT, sales tax, what are applicable on all the transactions.
Okay.
Okay, so this ends the Rev Rec topic. अब आपने मुझे एक PDF दी है, so what you have to go through मैं आपको बता देता हूँ। Headers मत देखना, headers are confusing always. Example 9 आप अपने तरीके से करोगे। It's just a condition. यहाँ पर हमने जो step 5 में देखी थी, revenue over a time versus point in time, your answer will match. Same example 10 आप देखोगे, 9, 10. दिस इज अ स्मॉल एग्जांपल मैं आपको कराऊंगा, वेरी वेरी सिंपल मैथमेटिकल कैलकुलेशन है ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट के, लेकिन मुझे थोड़ा बहुत बेस बनाना पड़ेगा कंस्ट्रक्शन अकाउंटिंग का। सो एग्जांपल 11 को आप छोड़ दो, सेम गोस टू, आगे चलते हैं। एग्जांपल नंबर 12 को आप छोड़ दो, अगेन अ स्मॉल कॉन्सेप्ट जहां पर हम लोग कॉस्ट को कैपिटलाइज करते हैं अंडर अ रेवेन्यू कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। कॉस्ट टू ऑब्टेन एंड कॉस्ट टू फुलफिल दोनों को छोड़ दो। कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मॉडिफिकेशन हमने देख लिया, प्रिंसिपल वर्सेस एजेंट हमने देख लिया। फॉरवर्ड कॉल ऑप्शन, अगेन नाम को छोड़ दो, जस्ट गो थ्रू द एग्जांपल, यूज योर लॉजिक्स कि अगर आपको पैसा आता है, फाइनेंशियल लायबिलिटी का मतलब होता है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लायबिलिटी, Now they can use deferred revenue, they can use financial liability, they can use contract liability. So header को छोड़ दो, just treat this as a normal transaction. Your entries has to match. Same goes for 16, same goes for 17, 18, 19. हर एक चीज में हेडर्स छोड़ दो, एग्जांपल रिव्यू करो, हमारे सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्लियर है, कोई भी डाउट रहेगा हम लोग सॉल्व करेंगे. So except 11, 12 and 13 you should be able to solve all the examples without looking at the header. उन्होंने जस्ट आपको सब सेक्शंस बना के दिए हैं. द प्रिंसिपल सेज कि आपका 5 स्टेप मॉडल हमेशा काम करेगा, चाहे आप कंस्ट्रक्शन इंडस्ट्री में हो, सॉफ्टवेयर इंडस्ट्री में हो, मीडिया इंडस्ट्री में हो, क्रॉस रिपोर्टिंग कर रहे हो नहीं कर रहे हो. सो एज लॉन्ग एज योर 5 स्टेप्स आर क्लियर. उन्होंने जो आपको एडिशनल एग्जांपल दिए है वो ब्रेक डाउन करके दिए है कि व्हाट हैपेंस इन अ मर्चेंट इंडस्ट्री, व्हाट हैपेंस इन अ फाइनेंशियल इंडस्ट्री. बट डजंट मैटर, आपके 5 स्टेप्स आर गोइंग टू होल्ड गुड. 11, 12, 13 छोड़ देना, बाकी सॉल्व करो, कहीं पे भी डाउट होगा वी आर गोइंग टू चेक इट बैक. ठीक है, सो आई विल सी यू नाउ ऑन मंडे and I think tomorrow morning I'll give you the question paper for the Sunday's exam.
Okay.
Actually, all right.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye.